What up, my dudes? And welcome back to another Movie Monday. Oh, I'm so stoked about this one because I'm switching it up a bit. Because, why? I watched a bunch of stuff on Shudder and I was like, look, rather than doing like 16 little videos, I'm just going to do one big one so you guys can see which are like top movies I've watched recently on Shudder over the last 2 months. So, you ready for this? Let's do it. First one to speak about is Hell House Origins. Yeah. Anybody watch new Hell House? I'm sure you guys have. Anyways, the new Hell House, they did a fantastic job. I love these movies. I remember being super skeptic because, the cover of the movie wasn't too doesn't really pull you in that much. And just it being new horror, I was like, oh, how's this gonna be good? And it's handheld. And I remember watching this series of films, 3 years ago at least ish, and I was terrified. I think they did a fantastic job with those two clowns being, a part of it. Anyways, Origins kind of tries to bring it back into like a whole story. So you basically got this sister, brother, and like the girl is like the main one who's like super obsessed with like the paranormal and like doing investigative stuff. And the brother's just really chill and goes along with her. And she also brings her best friend. Okay. So, point is, they're all there. They end up going to this manor. I forget the name of the manor. It's not the usual hotel we keep seeing in the movies. But they do such a weird, crazy way of tying everything back to that. Like, it literally makes sense as to how they tied it back. Anyways, so good. What was scary about this movie is there's all these moments of the clowns being in the room. Oh my lord. And like that's one thing I've always loved about this movie is they show you stuff, right? Where it's not so much like jump scares. It's more you're watching, it's handheld, and like you'll just see the clown guy like staring back at you. And yeah, they did a really good job with this one. I really hats off to you guys at the Hell House team because honestly nailed it. Yeah, highly suggest watch it, especially if you're scared of clowns. It'll warm your little spooky heart. All right. On to the next. So this is another really new one. When Evil Lurks. By the same director who did Aterados. I have to say, it might be not of the same opinion of other people. I think Aterados was a lot better of a film. Okay? This movie was really good. But in terms of like scary and stuff, no. Okay, so when Evil Lurks, we actually watched this on Halloween. Yeah, this is how late I am at speaking about movies. Anyways, this movie was so good at throwing up just scenes that you have not seen yet in horror because you'd probably think I can't show that on TV. Yeah, and they did such a great job with that. I love that kind of shock horror where I think back to one of my favorite scenes in Pet Sematary of poor little Cage getting smashed by that truck, right? I remember seeing that for the first time when I was in I want to say like grade 7, grade 8 maybe, and just being like, what just happened? So I love that in horror movies. And When Evil Lurks has a ton of that where you're just like, did that just happen? Yeah, worth seeing. Also, it was really interesting because it took this whole... I want to say like epidemic, but not. And it's like people being possessed versus it being like a disease going around, but it's like a disease of possession. It was a very neat take at a possession style movie. I remember when we put it on, I was just kind of like blind going into it. Like, what am I going to be watching? And they did a really good job, right? The only thing that kills me about this movie, and I love movies that are open-ended, don't get me wrong, but this is one of those movies that just kind of leaves you, and you're like, what? Like, I want more. Yeah, that's how I felt about this film. And like, I don't know. I wonder if anybody else feels that way. Because again, it was fantastic. Even the effects were crazy good. Again, scary-wise... to me, it wasn't as scary as Aterados. It's a different vibe, right? But yeah. Anyways, I would love to know your thoughts. Okay, on to the next. This was a different one. So the movie Extremity. Sometimes I go on Shudder and I see something that I've never heard of before and I'm like, I'll take a chance. And I took a chance on Extremity. And honestly, not that bad of a movie. Yeah, so I felt like I should talk about it because honestly, it took that whole concept of, people pay to go and get like haunted. You pay for haunts, you go to a haunt. This is that next level haunt. So somebody paying to like get like terrorized even more, like you really have to sign a waiver. Basically like next level stuff. So imagine if a movie like Saw or like that whole concept met, a haunted house type thing, met also like maybe mental illness. Anyways, very interesting. And it's really neat that it's like a girl who's like the main character. And you see right off the bat, she's like driving and they're just like, yeah, in the car, and her friend or boyfriend, I forget who, is kind of like warning her, oh, don't go do that, blah, blah, blah. And like you can see she was talking to her doctor at some point. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, that's just stupid. That's not going to help you out. And they bring up that whole like, oh, why do you like horror movies so much? And she's like, I love it. Like, I like being scared. Anyways, I was like, oh, I gotta see this. And she gets there, and it's kind of like right away into it. It's basically her and another guy who are part of it, who are taking part. And it's like next level. Like, they are beating you. Like, they're, throwing you around, almost drowning you. Crazy stuff like that. But basically, they were supposed to get a psych eval from this girl, and what she handed over was a forged signature. Whoops. Whoops, company. Anyways, wild movie. Yeah, for something that's like not really spoken of, I highly suggest give it a watch. It was pretty good. Yeah. All right, next. Ooh, Nightmare. Okay, so I watched this one very recently. I don't remember what language it's in. Anyways, there's subs. Fantastic movie though. Okay, so this movie, it's all about this couple, classic, eh? Couple goes to buy an apartment / rent an apartment, and they get a wicked deal on it. Why? Somebody died in it. It's like the beginning of a lot of horror movies, right? But the feel I got from this was a bit like, I want to say Rosemary's Baby mixed with that movie with everybody in it, Darren Aronofsky. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah. Anyways, so kind of like those vibes where, new couple, the boyfriend kind of wants to get not married, sorry, wants to have a kid. She's kind of like, I don't know. He works all the time. She's home all the time. Basically like getting the place ready and like renovating and stuff. And she starts having these lucid dreams. This freaking movie, okay, I'm like expecting it to be all kind of, I don't know, like, again, like a Rosemary's Baby type thing, or like one of those movies where somebody's gonna just come in and do weird shit like that. But no, it turns into this whole incubus type mythology, and this like apartment seems to have a huge, I guess, impact on people that move into it. So is it possession? We don't know. Is it a ghost or like a demon that's just like in this place? Or is it maybe like doctors involved that are part of it? Anyways, so she basically keeps like sleepwalking, doesn't know if she's like awake or not, and like getting like herself in like crazy situations, becomes pregnant, doesn't even get porked by her boyfriend at this point, and it's like someone's trying to have a demon baby with you, and it's like legit happening. Anyways, super messed up. Like, it was pretty well done, I'd say. Yeah, highly suggest watching it. Even like the end, I was like, oof. Yeah. And it's kind of like that weird dynamic too. Like, you get to see like a young couple, and like she's trying to like put her foot down, but it's like, is she losing her mind, or is it again ghosts? So I find that really interesting. There's been a lot more movies kind of bringing that in. And I think that is definitely something that should be explored. I think that was something I really loved about Veronica. You guys remember that movie, Veronica? Anyways, like, they kind of tried taking that angle, like, oh, maybe she was just depressed, and it's like, oh man, no, it's ghosts. Anyways, okay. On to the next. Unwelcome. Oh my lord. Okay, so I saw this poster come up, and all I saw was like weird dome shapes, and it kind of seemed goofy. And I was like, okay, let's put this on. Anyways, you got this couple that moves to shit, I forget where. Well, I want to say somewhere in Ireland. I'm probably wrong, or like in Scotland. Anyways, somewhere in like mountains and like plains and whatever. And they basically get a hold of, I want to say it's like their aunt's cottage. Yeah, she passes away. And these two move in. And right away, the lady next door is like, you have to leave food out for this. And I forget the name of the folklore, the fair. It's been a while since I watched this. It's been like about 2 months since I saw this one, but it stuck with me. She's like, you gotta keep like the food out to feed those types of fairies or whatever they are. And they're like, are you kidding? And she's like, no, like if you're not gonna do it, let me know because I'll keep doing it. Like you have to keep food out. And like you could tell like young couple and like the girl's like, this chick's nuts, you know? So the chick did it. She's like, you know what? I'll do it for the first couple days. Like, don't mind coming on my lawn. You know, it's kind of weird. She misses a day and obviously shit starts going down and it's like, oh, you don't want to upset those little dudes. Anyways, it's one of these movies that is so whack that's worth giving it a watch. Yeah, that's that's all I'm gonna give you about that one. It's definitely worth giving it a watch. And like the effects were good for it too. It was just interesting. It's fun to see that kind of folklore come alive again in like a horror movie. Yeah, watch it. The last one I'm going to talk about was The Influencer. Have any of you seen this one? Okay, so I put this on just because I'd seen it up there for a while. Looked like some kind of like beach thing, and I'm like, okay, how can we off a bunch of influencers? Is this like the new slasher? Is this what we're getting into? Starts off, you have this girl. She's out, you know, traveling. Basically ends up having a night alone. Meets, you know, a couple people, ends up basically, I don't even want to spoil anything about this one. This one's like a whole bunch of twists. No, but you know what? It's not really spoiled. Okay. Anyways, yeah, this first girl ends up befriending somebody, and what ends up happening is she gets robbed. Classic, right? And like they're somewhere far. I want to say like Thailand. It's probably not even Thailand, but they're somewhere far. Her shit gets stolen. She goes to the front desk. She's trying to figure out what's happening. And of course, that new girl she just conveniently met is there. Like, I can help you. If anything, you can stay at my place. Befriends her and basically takes on her identity. Yeah. So this is the whole concept of this movie. You basically have this girl who is that conniving, that basically finds these people traveling and, you know, just takes over what they do. So in this case, it's a really wild film. I don't want to spoil anything about like the plot and shit, but it's crazy. Like I thought it was pretty good for something new. It's more of like a thriller, you know, like what can happen. And you're at that point where you're like, I hate this girl, right? Like this chick is crazy, but she's so smart about it too. How she gets away with it, the amount of AI you can use, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of plausible, but it's also kind of, I guess this would be called like the new teen horror movies ish. Yeah. Anyways, see it. I still think it's worth it. And let me know your thoughts. Guys, I just hit you with what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies to watch that are playing on Shudder TV. Guys, if you don't have it, you really should. Honestly, I think it went up here. I think it's like $5.99 a month now. But it's worth it. They have a lot of cool, different horror movies than what's out there. And yeah, let me know what you thought about any of those. I would love to know. And guys, the holidays are coming. If you guys have some fun holiday horror movies that you think I should watch, let me know. I'm already kind of scoping out and seeing, because I obviously have to do a holiday hoedown for us, right, this year. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining. Guys, if you're subscribed, appreciate you. If you're not, get on it. Be a part of it and learn about all the awesome spooky movies there is. All right. We'll see you soon.